Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. Today, this is going to be my Whirling Sufi reference for this painting that I'm going to do. I'll first roughly draw a sketch and then I'm going to do the background colors. So let me just get in with the rough sketch of the Sufi first. So here in this Whirlingdervish painting reference, you can see that if we see the posture of the Whirling Sufi, it's the T. On the top of the upper body of the Whirling Sufi, it's in the T shape. You can say it's an inverted T. So we'll take the hands, the top of the T as the hands of the Sufi. We'll draw a rough T and draw a central line like this. So this is going to be the initial posture of the Whirling Sufi. Then we are going to draw the neck part. This is the, since we are selecting the posture in which this is the back side of the Sufi, Whirling Sufi's entire body. So we are selecting this collar and then the shoulder part, and then we have this hand, this part of the hand with the thumb. We'll just do the rough sketching first because we have to do the background, and then we'll make the final sketch and we'll paint the reference subject. So this is the neck part and we have his hat. Whirling Sufi's hat in any Whirling Sufi painting is a very prominent feature, so you'll have to have a good focus on this hat part as well, because it's a very prominent feature in any of Whirling Sufi's painting. So this is the second hand, something like this. Okay, and this is the back of the Sufi. Since it's the back, so he'll show the all the folds and the falls in his the coat he's wearing. Enjoying these sleeves, the back of the shirt, and it's a sideways of the this shirt, and some extension of the fabric will show. Since he is in a motion, circular motion, so his clothes are flailing, falling apart because of the wind and the whirling. So this is going to be his waist, and from waist we have his frock, and this frock is a very important feature of Whirling Sufi painting. So you have to be having a good focus on his frock as well. So here we have his frock. Some parts of the frock will show this fall of his frock, while some will keep them vague. And there's a massive you can say a fall or circular sort of fall of this frock, which is visible here. And while the other frock is going outward, so we'll keep this part as an extension, an abstract, or we'll keep it textured, something like this. So here's this basic drawing of the Whirling Sufi for this painting. Now, if you want, you can pause this video and take a screenshot of this basic drawing first. Then we can further proceed to our background making. For the backdrop, I will use some minimalistic colors, and I think that I'm going for the light and warm tones, a mix of both. And I think that I would go for this sort of pattern, that I would try to immerse some colors over here, then here, and here in this part, and finally some textures over here. This would be the pattern, and you can also use some golden color here as well. So this is going, and most of the parts we will leave vacant. So let's just get started with our coloration process. For the colors, okay, so for the colors I'm going to use some flat brushes, and since our canvas size, the sheet is smaller, so I'm going for small brush sizes, while if you are working on a bigger canvas you can go for bigger flat brushes in order to get these flat brushes stroke raw stroke um, color textures. And the colors that I'm going to use, the palette I'm going to use is turquoise blue, scarlet, and crimson red color, some hints of yellow, mid yellow, orange yellow, orange color, and black and gray. This is mid gray and black, and white, of course, as a basic element of this painting. So let's just get started with the color process. So first I'm going to use, and you need to have a absorbing soaking piece of cloth as well. So since we are going to shower some sprinkle some water, so we need to have uh, a towel or something in order to soak the extra amount of the color that will be spilled. So first I'm going to use scarlet. We are going to use all these warm tones first simultaneously, so we'll open all these colors, so it comes very handy when you are doing a texture painting or something. So I'm going with the scarlet. We have to be very careful with our color application, because in order to keep the sketch intact, and if it gets removed or it gets hidden under the pigment, no problem, you can redraw it, no issues. So I've started off with the red, and I'm going to do some linear strokes like this. I'm going to incorporate some other colors in these stroking patterns. I'm taking the family of the same colors that we have. Like for example, I'm choosing red, then I'm choosing yellow, and I will be using yellow orange, yellow orange, mid yellow. And you must have noticed that I haven't cleaned the brush yet. I won't clean the brush, I will use the same brush everywhere. So a sequence would be something like this. You can also directly apply some pigment. If you want it to be a little bit overwhelming, you can directly apply the pigment as well. So we are going from light to dark and dark to light in this painting, using different sorts of colors will give you a different impact. Here, as I have told you, that I am going to follow this pattern. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a spray bottle and to sprinkle some of the water here, so that the color that I have applied would spread. I'll dampen the areas where I have to move the color. Since it's a wet on wet surface, so the colors will move according to the brush. Wherever you want the this flowy watercolor effect, you can just do it with a little bit strokes of the brushes. If you see that if it has crossed some extra color in the background, then you can just use a swipe tissue paper to wipe those colors out, and in this way it will give you this kind of a color. You can simply, if you want to cover these white surfaces, you can simply use this use your brush to spread all these colors in the background, and you can also leave some white spaces like this. So here I'm going to do a combination of the colors. I'm using, as I've told you, that I'm using light and dark tones, warm and bright tones. So here in this area I'm going to use turquoise, and you can also do the sprinkling of the spots like this. Whatever shade you want to select, you can go for it. You can just sprinkle things out using this effect. Just take some pigment on your brush, dampen it with some amount of water, and then just sprinkle it. Okay, so I'm going to use now the portrait, oh sorry, turquoise blue. You can also swipe the extra amount of the color downward to give the watercolor effect like this. Or if you have convenience, you can just pick the canvas or the sheet you are working on and just slide it downward like this, so the extra color will drip down. Alright, so I'm going to use turquoise color here, and with turquoise you can also add white, or you can add blue. Any color that will enhance the effect of turquoise color here will look great. Now I have air dried this canvas sheet, and the colors are dried. So wherever I feel like adding some colors, some other extra colors, I can. Like for example, here in this part, I'm going to use some gray. And basically I'm looking forward to use the grays, a little bit hints of grays and white in the background. Wherever I feel like to hide the unnecessary spilling of the colors, I'll mask that space with white. And if I would miss out some other colors, like for example turquoise in this process, then I will redo it. I'll take some pigment from turquoise and I will just spread it outwardly. Our mission is to do the raw flat brush strokes as well as the watercolor effect and the cloudy watercolor effect in the background. So this is our aim for this painting. So if you want to achieve it, we'll go in and out with the shades, the base colors, and as well as the white and gray in the background to mask all these colors, the extra that you have applied. So I'm just covering the areas where I feel like there's a little bit extra color using white and gray. dampen your brush a bit in water, and then to the areas closer to the unison of the warm tones with the cool tones, you can just do some clean brushing, damping. Stamp the clean brush over there so that these areas look very synchronized with each other. And for the base color of the warm tones, I use red. So just a hint of the red on your brush. You can just move slightly on this part to incorporate the red tones, the warm tones with the cool tones here in this portion. With the moist brush as well. So in the areas where I feel like hiding the effect, extra pigmentation, extra coloration, I'll just mask those areas with white, but not the overwhelming white color. I'll have to keep this too in my consideration that I don't want to hide the backdrop. I want it to be there and not to be there, if you are getting my point. So I don't have to be very uh, loud with my brush strokes, and still I need to cover all these areas where I feel like there is a extra pigmentation, and the areas where I feel like to hide, giving a border. So I think that this is it. Some portions I'm covering over here as well. And in this corner. You can do this brush stroking part. You feel like if you miss this some kind of brush strokes, then you can again do these strokes on white, no problem. Using the same color palette that we have used in the base. Like this. And with the wet brush, you can just simply blend it outward. Like this. Okay, so we are going to do now so you can take the turquoise blue. I'm using just the slight strokes of turquoise blue. You see how the color is dispersing into the upper shades. Then sprinkle some blue color, turquoise blue color here as well, like this, in order to make it look like a part of the upper colors. And you can also sprinkle some water in order to spread it on the frock as well, so it will become a part of it as well. And the bottom, you can drive this color down like this. With turquoise blue you can wait and let the color dry, then you can record if you feel like you want to add some more colors to add the vibrance. Here too you can use the same color palette. And decided to pop these colors, and I will add some phthalo blue here as well, with turquoise blue. Some drops I'm sprinkling on the rest of the brush. You can add some or decrease or increase the color quantity here in this portion as per your choice. Some of the colors you will disperse it down here too with the frock, so that when we will be using the colors of the frock, it will act as a base color in the frock. So I'll just wait for these colors to get dry, and then we'll apply some more colors. Now I have air dried this canvas sheet, and the colors are dried. So wherever I feel like adding some colors, some other extra colors, I can. Like for example, here in this part, I'm going to use some gray. And basically I'm looking forward to use the grays, a little bit hints of grays and white in the background. Wherever I feel like to hide the unnecessary spilling of the colors, I'll mask that space with white. And if I would miss out some other colors, like for example turquoise in this process, then I will redo it. I'll take some pigment for turquoise and I will just spread it outwardly. Our mission is to do the raw flat brush strokes as well as the watercolor effect and the cloudy watercolor effect in the background. So this is our aim for this painting. So if you want to achieve it, we'll go in and out with the shades, the base colors, and as well as the white and gray in the background to mask all these colors, the extra that you have applied. So I'm just covering the areas where I feel like there's a little bit extra color using white and gray. Dampen your brush a bit in water, and then to the areas closer to the unison of the warm tones with the cool tones, you can just do some clean brushing, damping. Stamp the clean brush over there so that these areas look very synchronized with each other. And for the base color of the warm tones, I used red. So just a hint of the red on your brush. You can just move slightly on this part to incorporate the red tones, the warm tones with the cool tones here in this portion. With the moist brush as well. So in the areas where I feel like hiding the effect, extra pigmentation, extra coloration, I'll just mask those areas with white, but not the overwhelming white color. I'll have to keep this too in my consideration, that I don't want to hide the backdrop. I want it to be there and not to be there, if you are getting my point. So I don't have to be very uh, loud with my brush strokes, and still I need to cover all these areas where I feel like there is a extra pigmentation, and the areas where I feel like to hide, giving a border. So I think that this is this is it. Some portions I'm covering over here as well. And in this corner. You can do this brush stroking part. You feel like if you miss this some kind of brush strokes, then you can again do these strokes on white, no problem. Using the same color palette that we have used in the base. Like this. And with the wet brush, you can just simply blend it outward. Like this. Okay, so we are going to do now we are going to do the whirling Sufi part. For the hat, I'm using raw sienna. It is going to be the base color of my painting for specifically for hat. If you have missed out any information, any sketch part under this background of mixed colors, then you can repaint or redraw the sketch with the white charcoal pencil or just with the light graphite pencil, and then you can easily paint on it. So with the raw sienna, I will add some burnt sienna as well to the head. I'm just going to do right now the base colors, then I will just give the details later. Right now I've used two colors here, raw sienna and burnt sienna. And I will add some darkness to this hat using Van Dyke brown. Okay, so wet on wet surface, if the surface is wet with any other color, base color, and then you apply another wet color on the top of it, I dilute mostly my acrylic colors with water and keep them in an ice tray like this. Just sprinkle some water with the spray bottle with the pigment, just mix it, and it will give you a little bit diluted shade, the color. It is very easy to apply and it won't give you cracks. Usually when we apply the dry paint, acrylic paint, it gives a lot of cracks. So in order to do the detailing work and to avoid the cracking, you can simply use diluted versions of the colors, any shade that you are going to use in your paintings, and it will make your blending very easy. So first I have colored this head. Then I'm going to do the underpainting of the Whirling Sufi's frock, and the frock contains a lot of folds. So for the folds, as the folds are dark, I'm going to use Van Dyke brown along with Rosina, same shades that I have used there in the head, and mostly Van Dyke brown. I'll use Van Dyke brown, make the folds. Here in this portion, this is the collar part of the Sufi, while here we have a lot of foldings on the sleeves as well. You can also use Van Dyke brown along with black for this portion of the Sufi's shirt sleeves. I'll keep some base color intact as well because I want to show it as well. So we are going to do, right now we are doing the base. We are just leaving some white portions that are covering the shirt of the Sufi, while other portions we are leaving as Van Dyke brown and black. Now here in this folds as well, we'll make some major folds first with the Van Dyke brown diluted in a little amount of water. This fold was prominent, as I have told you, showed you guys in the drawing. And this is the fold that, this is the portion I'll give some textures. So just giving some hints of the color here, not overwhelming color strokes here. So this was the portion of the frock, and now here this part, some shades that I'm going to use, some other shades as well. This is the Van Dyke brown portion first. I'm just doing this under construction, the base first, so that coloring becomes very easy then. This is the waistline of Whirling Sufi. You can also incorporate black along with the waistline. Move it a little bit down with the same brush. So we got the baseline of the Sufi, the waistline, and these are the folds. So we'll let this color a little bit dry, and then we can do our working, the other things. So meanwhile it's drying, I'm going to do some work here. In this portion, I just took white on the flat brush and I tried to cover these spaces, little bit damp brush, and I'm just trying to hide that overwhelming Van Dyke brown color showing the edge of the frock with white color. I'm also being very careful with showing the turquoise blue effect on the frock here, for example. So I'm not touching those areas and leaving the back end. I'm not going to completely hide the effect of the Van Dyke brown here, but just the hints, little bit. Taking the round brush, cleaning it, and again swiping it upward so that our effect of the white on the frog doesn't get lost. The white and the turquoise blue effect, I want to keep it because it looks nice, so just keeping the background colors as well. In this inner portion of the frog also, just the Van Dyke brown, and cleaning the brush and spreading the pigment and picking out the extra after swiping it out with the piece of towel, and the brush gets dried, and then you can just pick the extra pigment spread on the base so that the base color, which is what here, turquoise, it will get visible. I wanted to show it, so this is why I just picked the extra diluted pigment of Van Dyke brown from here in this part. Give some prominence to the edge of the frock, And again I'm going to use white. Okay, so here in this portion I'll be using a flat brush. So yeah, I'll try to cover all these unnecessary, not actually unnecessary, the base lines of the Van Dyke brown on the Whirling Sufi's frock. Since it's a bit dried now, so working is easy. Otherwise, the color would smudge and will create a mess. So we will repaint all these lines again to show the creases of the frock. But right now I'm going to just cover the sharpness of these lines. Here in this part, since it was the turquoise colors were visible here, so I'll just dampen the brush with the water, and we have white on our brush and turquoise color in the base. So I'll just try to avoid this removing of the background color, which is turquoise, and I will go a little bit slow on the use of my white pigment here in this portion. Since the fold it has lot of lightning, so I will just show it's the lighted version, but I will also keep the white base color. The turquoise base color, I'm sorry. So here's the frock. I have just gave a base color to this frock, which is white. Now I'll let this color dry and I will add some more white wherever I will feel like adding light to the areas, light exposure to the areas where feel like a little bit more highlighted. So here in this shirt part, trying to cover all the darkness that I have previously done. Little bit of dilution of the color would help. Use the diluted brush with water. And you can also use Van Dyke brown simultaneously. When the surface is wet, it will be easier for you to blend things out. So on the top of the sleeves and the shoulders and the areas where there's an exposure of light, we have white color. So I'll keep that white color here and here as well. So there are a lot of folds, so I'm going to show the white colors. Here in this portion of the Sufi's cloth as well. And we redraw the hand since we have missed it inside the colors, so I'll repaint it, no problem. We'll just let these base colors get dry a little bit, and then we can use the Van Dyke brown to give the highlights. We'll mix the Van Dyke brown with the base with the white color in order to make it look very uniform with the colors, with the highlights, and so that it doesn't stand out. While the areas where I have to cover, where I have to show the folds prominence, I will use Van Dyke brown along with black. Like for example, here in these folds, I will use black along with Van Dyke brown. So on the same brush where I had white as well, I have used Van Dyke brown along with black. So we have something like this. We'll also cover the areas, the external parts of the fold with white. To give the highlight, and you can use your fingertip to blend things out. This portion of the collar is a bit highlighted, so I'm using white. You can also use textures. You can also use palette knife here in this portion. The waist of the Sufi, the waistcoat he's wearing, so it also needs some highlights. So this is how we are going to get the folds of Sufi. I'm spreading some browns, Van Dyke brown here as well. Separating lines. This white portion, extending it a bit to make it look a bit dramatic. Okay, so as this is the bag of Whirling Sufi's head, I'm going to use the black color. This is scruff area of Sufi, so just painting it dark black, showing the hair, and I'm going to use burnt sienna along with portrait tone for his neck, the ear portion, and the face. Smaller portion of the face is visible. So here in this portion I will use some black along with the base color, which is red, and I will smudge it out in order to give prominence to the Sufi's face here. I'll let it dry, and then I will do the highlights on his face with white color, something that will look like this. But right now I'm not doing it because the surface is wet and the colors won't cooperate and mix well with each other. So let me just get done with this hands part. Sufi's hand, I am using the portrait tone mixed along with burnt sienna first. So when you're showing abstract Sufi work, it is not necessary that you draw the exact hands. You can also show the abstract version of the hands. So here I'm following the same. You can add some depth to the hand using Van Dyke brown, and for the skin tone we need to have portrait tone, and for the highlights we'll use white. White will be blended with portrait tone. Burnt sienna can also help you adding the warmth to the hand. And the final layer you can also use black to separate out the hands from the sleeves and blend things out like this. Same here, I'm going to apply the same thing here. This is our sleeve, Sufi sleeve, and needs to be highlighted a bit. So I'm going to use the same color tones, portrait color and burnt sienna as the base color. So the position of the hand is like this. So giving some highlights using white here too. And on the thumb as well, the fingers and thumb. And you will use Van Dyke brown along with black for depth here in the hand. Van Dyke brown and black in combination. Where you feel like darker areas, you'll have to use these two colors. And for the lighter areas, you will use portrait tone along with burnt sienna. I'll let these colors dry, then I will do the lighter color applications. So the surface has to be wet, otherwise all these colors will smudge out on your background. Since I cannot wait for these colors to get dry, but you can, and inshallah it will give you amazing results. Take pauses and then let the things get dried completely, then you can start your next step. Okay, so here in this portion, as I've told you that I'll use some so for this reason, for the texture I'm using white along with this palette knife, and in this part I'll just give some textures, something like this. Going to give some textures wherever you feel like you have and smudged out a texture a bit, so you can easily undo them using your paintbrush. Like you can pick out the extra textures that you have applied using the brush. And also give textures with the other colors. This part had to be highlighted. So I'm just using the white color as textured paint right now, just the tip in the closed areas. So tip of the palette knife, need to apply the color with lots of vigilance so that it doesn't smudge out. You can also use some different colors that you have applied over here. For example, you are going to apply the turquoise blue as well. You can, like here in this portion, you can give some textures of the turquoise blue from the frock of the Whirling Sufi extending downward. Here in this portion as well. You can also introduce some textures over here where you have applied turquoise color like this. To make it look at a part of the painting, give a singularity to the base color that you have previously applied. Okay, so I'm going to use now the tones that I have previously used in this part: yellow, orange, red, and I'm going to use these colors as textures here in this part. Just a bit of the colors, and I'll try to smudge them out using the palette knife. So in this lesson we have learned multiple sort of techniques which include the textures from the palette knife and the raw brush strokes, flat brush stroke, and the smudging out the colors using watercolor effect, water dripping effect. So you have learned a lot of things in this session regarding the textures and the flat brush application, use of the palette knife, giving the folds to the Whirling Sufi frock, highlights and shadows. Lots of different techniques have been learned in this session. You need to uplift some colors here. So I'm going to apply orange. the red, and the lightest color that we are using is yellow here. So I'm going to apply some yellow in this portion. And finally some touch-ups of turquoise. And white. Here again, I felt like I have done a bit extra, so I'll just wipe it out using wet brush, clean brush, wet and clean. And I will undo it using the base color, which is Van Dyke brown, along with white. White was already there, had to do some little touch up in order to get things suitable. Whenever you find any mistake, you can undo it using the base colors. So here in this part, the base color was Van Dyke brown and white, so it became very easy for me to undo that mistake. So finally on the folds, you can give some highlights using white, solo white color, to give a little bit spice to this painting, especially the frog of the Whirling Sufi, which is highlighted, has a lot of folds. You can use Van Dyke brown to cover the areas where there is overwhelming white. You can also use grey, Van Dyke brown, grey, white, black. These are the shades that will be used. So we have a complete painting. I hope that you have enjoyed this session and learned a lot of different techniques. You can also, what you can do is, you can also just swipe the color, damp the surface, the bottom surface, and then apply the color, and then you can just, with the help of the damp brush, you can just slant it, swipe it downward, in a downward direction, like this. This will also give you a watercolor effect. And since the surface is wet, then you can easily achieve this capillary action. You can see that how the color is dispersed here in this portion. You can easily achieve this sort of color impression. Use some white here. Disperse the color. You can also use this sprayer. Dampen the extra color amount, pick it up. And here we have the abstract whirling Sufi painting with the flat brush strokes, textures, and if you feel like adding some textures over here, you can. Something like this. You can do that as well. You can also add white. If you feel like if it works for you, then you can go for it. Otherwise, just don't. Like here in this portion, it's not working for me. So what I will do, I'll just smudge things out and I'll just wipe it. You can also put some dots of white, something like this. You can go in and out with the color application. And finally, oh, I forgot. Finally, we have this hat. First of all, his face. I need it to be prominent, so just gave it a highlight with the portrait tone, and we'll give the shadows bordering his ears and the side of his face. And the hair using Van Dyke brown and black. And this is the part of the collar of the Sufi. Alright, so I'm going to apply golden color. I use the golden shade of Bluebird 24K gold. So I'm going to apply a golden shade in some portions of the hat. The external portions where I need the highlights. If you want to color it the entirely gold, you can. Otherwise, you can just follow this, what I am doing here. Highlight the head a bit. On the external surface, just use just use this gold color. And what you can do is you can apply the same base colors we previously used, raw sienna, to blend golden out. We previously used raw sienna and raw burnt sienna and raw sienna in the base colors. The same, I'm going to apply the colors that I previously used in order to blend gold. So in this way, it's not the overwhelming golden color, and as well as this hat is shining. So our look is achieved. You can also add some golden to the frock of the Sufi. To the costume of the Sufi. Just the light color damped in water. Some brush strokes. Light brush strokes of the golden shade will just shine in the light, otherwise will give a light yellowish effect. Here too, in this portion you can apply some golden part, smudge it out using the damp brush. This black portion, you can also use some golden here here on the top shoulders, here in this part of the sleeves as well. You can smudge out some gold color externally as well from the hands or from the hat. If you feel like if you have applied some extra golden color, you can just simply use damp brush and try to pick it up. And you can simply sprinkle some golden spots here as well if you feel like. Some parts of the painting, if you feel like dropping golden spots, you can easily do that. And now our painting is finished. I hope that you enjoyed this session. Let me give you a closer look. Just like this. So I hope that you enjoyed painting today with me, and I'm looking forward to your complete work. Take care.